What's up guys, it's Sky. Hope you all had a great weekend. I missed an upload yesterday and I was celebrating Memorial Day, which is a holiday in the US. Anyways, if you notice anything different in today's gameplay, it was actually me jumping on the PC version of Battlefront this weekend. And I added a couple things to my repertoire. First things first, shout out to Dr. Jones. I really appreciate you commenting on my extraction guide video and giving me a great idea. And a lot like you, I've pretty much been ignoring the combat role ever since they added it into the game. But as you can see from the video, shame on me for doing that. Now the great thing about the PC version of Battlefront is that you can actually map the combat role to its own dedicated key. Whereas on console, you have to double tap the crouch button. The combat role actually has a second or two of cooldown time, so you actually can't spam them back to back. Although you can execute them in fairly quick succession, if you just time it right. Another thing that you should note about the combat role is that you can't execute it when you're moving forward. You have to make sure that your movement is to the left or the right before you try to execute it, or else it's not going to work. One of the biggest advantages of the combat role is that you can still line up your aim and shoot in mid-roll. I've also started jumping a lot more in mid-gunfight, and as far as I can tell, jumping or combat rolling doesn't affect your accuracy. The only issue though is that on console, you're going to want a SCUF controller to take full advantage of it. And if you don't know, SCUF controllers are custom modded controllers that have additional buttons behind the controller so you can access certain functions like jumping or crouching without moving your thumb off of the thumbstick. But they can get kinda expensive, but that doesn't mean you can't use it without a SCUF controller. As you see here, I use it in that momentary delay between killing my first target and acquiring my second target. It's gonna take me a second to acquire him anyway, and I might as well throw his aim off while I'm doing it. Xbox One players also have the option of getting an Xbox Elite controller, which seems to be a little bit cheaper, but just as good, if not better, depending on your opinion. There's a couple situations where I feel the combat role is just absolutely money. First situation is if someone gets to jump on you from behind. You might as well combat roll to throw his aim off, and it might buy you enough time to turn around and get the jump on him. The second situation is if you're using a slow rate of fire gun or a burst weapon. You can combat roll in between shots or in between bursts. If you go back and watch the legendary 6-piece from the beginning of this video, you see that I was doing that with the SC-14C. A third situation where the combat role is money is if you're about to peek a corner that you know someone's watching. They pretty much expect you to come around that corner slowly, but if you combat roll out, you might be able to get the jump on him. And another situation where I found the combat role to be really useful is quickly darting back into cover. And from my couple hours of experience on the PC version, I found that a lot of more people are using the combat role in the PC version. And it most likely is due to the fact that you can map a dedicated button to the combat role. However, I currently don't own a SCUF controller, even though I plan on getting one. And the gameplay here, I actually go 35-2 on the PS4. And you'll see at the end of the video, I actually did take advantage of the combat role to extend my kill streak by a couple kills. I actually had a couple people sneak up behind me in quick succession, and I used the combat role to get out of line of fire and flip the tables on them. See that the biggest hurdle that people are going to have to overcome is the fact that most people just forget it's there. And it took me a day or two to kind of add it to my repertoire. Basically at the start of every round, when everyone's running out of the spawn, I would just spam it. And then when I was running around the corner, I would just constantly use it. And in gunfights, I would just force myself to use it, and eventually it became second nature. And as you can see in the gameplay here, in the final moments in this round of Blast, where I went 35-2, I used the combat role to turn the tables on that guy, and no SCUF controller required, before his buddy finally takes me out. Well guys, hope that was fun and useful. Appreciate you guys watching, and remember, don't forget to roll. Catch you later.